come back in before I... Well, now that Barry's here, we can get going. All right. Okay, guys, we're going to go back into session. Can I get a motion to reconvene?
Motion.
Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are back in session. We're going to recognize, obviously, a whole bunch of guys in dark sweatshirts out here. But I'm going to hand it over to Councilman Coletti first to say a few words about why you're all probably here.
Thank you, Mayor. So in 2024, both the Hillsdale Hawk Pee-wees and juniors won their respective Super Bowls. Tonight, we're recognizing the juniors, and we're going to recognize the Pee-wees on February 4th's meeting. So it being a banner year for the Hawks, the organization continued to demonstrate its continued commitment to excellence and to teaching our children in this town the formula for success, not only in the form of teaching them a sport, but again, teaching them a formula that can help them in life. And I say to all the players and the cheerleaders, I hope you realize that when you're preparing and practicing and executing, and then you guys do it all over again, you correct, you improve, and you repeat that cycle. Your coaches are teaching you how to be successful, and the proof is in the pudding with your victory. So congratulations on that. When recognizing excellence, we start at the top of the organization. So I would just like to recognize Craig Cardell. I know he's been around for a really long time contributing to the organization, and I think he's done a wonderful job. And also the rest of the Hawks Association officers. Countless hours go into running the program, and we all recognize that. Next, the parents and the coaches. You should be recognized because football, by no means, is a season. It's a lifestyle, and it extends well beyond the regular season. It's an enormous commitment. So now, specifically, this team, 37 wins and 5 losses over the past 4 years, Craig? 37 wins and 5 losses. They played 3 out of 4 Super Bowls over those 4 years. They won the Super Bowls as Pee-wees. They went 11-0 this year, and they won the Super Bowl again. So congratulations to the Super Bowl champion, Hillsdale Hawks. So at this time, the mayor and council would like to recognize the junior football and cheerleader head coaches. And if you could come up and meet the mayor, co-head coach Dan DeFabio, co-head coach Mike Weaver, and cheer coach Maureen Wolf.
Thank you very much. I think you guys all did this. The dedication, I always say this, I'm always astounded by the volunteerism of parents who get behind this, not just for their kids, but for every other kid in town. You've done a great job. On behalf of the council, thank you. We have these certificates for you, for all the children as well. I don't know if all the kids are named on this, and so I'll hand this to you. You can do a photo.
Yeah.
You can be able. Janetta wants to get a photo of you, I'm sure, as well.
Well, I
But if
just
you would like
kinda-
to say something, I'm sure that we're all more than happy to hear what you've got to say on how you got here, the great kids you've got.
I'm gonna have you go
Mike, please.
All the cheer parents and the families, it's, as it was stated before, it's definitely a lifestyle for many months out of the year. Oh, no, I don't want to talk now.
I'll hold it. I'll hold it here.
The kids are dedicated. They have a great time doing it, and it makes it a joy to help them get to where they are, both for the cheer and the football players. It's a great time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I do love this. I love coaching. It's frustrating at times. It takes a lot of time, but we have a lot of good men that are teaching these boys to be men, and I appreciate all their help. Listen, boys, you guys did great this year. I just want to hear it. Hawks on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hawks!
Boys, fantastic job, like Coach said, but I would just like to thank the mayor and the rest of the council. Bob, thank you for letting us come here and be recognized. It's greatly appreciated. We really appreciate what the town does for us. From the DPW, Barry, you guys work very hard. It's very appreciated. The fields are always set up. And, Dan from, the rec department, and it's just fantastic. It's just the support that we get. We cannot be more appreciative. So thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it.
I can't be more proud of this group of guys. You're the best. I honestly never wanted to coach football ever. I played it my whole life. I love it. You guys literally awoken a passion in me I haven't had in years. I love the game of football. I love watching you guys grow. I'm proud of every single one of you. 2 times for you, 2 times for them. There you go.
All right. Thank you very much. Does anybody from the public want to say anything? Take it out of turn for a minute. No? If not, then you know what? Why don't take a couple minutes to break so that I know that nothing better you love than to listen to resolutions and ordinance. But maybe we'll take a 5-minute break. So if you wanted to clear out or go somewhere to celebrate, you could do that, okay? So we'll take 5. Thanks, guys.
Let's line up front, and then I'll give you your rings on the way out.
What are we doing? I like this wall is very yes. Look how tall they are. Let's stand up. Let's stand up. Guys, stand up. They're taller than me.
You're good. You're good. Come in. Slide over, Jeffrey. Get in front of Brady and Jimmy. Move it over, right?
No. Stand up here.
How many?
But then we'll be behind him.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think we're good. Yeah. I think we're good here. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, boys, everybody smile.
There you go. This looks great. No clowning around, please.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's not easy.
Yeah, well,
To be like,
having your picture taken.
yeah.
Oh, can you pause it? Okay. We're going to come back in. As I was saying, here are the true policy junkies, right? You can't get enough of this stuff. Okay. We're back in session. I'm going to approve all the minutes at once. We've got the council minutes December 3rd, 2024. Councilman Fox absent. Council meetings from December 10th. Special council meeting December 17th, and the closed council meeting December 17th. Can I get a motion?
I motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? None. Will the clerk please read the roll?
Councilmember Mazachang?
She has to abstain. She has to abstain from these.
Yep. I still have to.
Oh, okay.
Council President Oso?
Yes.
Councilmember Rucco?
Yes.
Councilmember Trohimuk?
Yes.
Councilmember Coletti?
Yes.
Councilmember Fox?
Abstain.
From just the first one?
From the first, yeah.
And yes to the rest?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Great, they're passed. We're going to have the initial public comment. 3 minutes time limited to items only on the agenda, one topic per speaker. Please state your name and town of residence for the record. Would anyone like to speak at this time on items on the agenda? See, yes, you would like to speak? Rick, it's Rick Savino.
You're the one. Richard Savino, 64 Westdale Avenue. I just want, there's an item on tonight's introduction 25-06, the financial agreement. I guess this is otherwise the pilot tax payment. And what jumps out at me is this is a 30-year tax agreement for storage space. And one of the consideration for giving them a 30-year tax agreement, which I think most residents would consider it a tax break for that, you know, when you negotiate a tax payment like this, was one thing for 255 apartments, which really delivered people, but it, you know, the consideration was 10 full-time employees. And I've been in and out of many storage centers, and they're staffed by one. So maybe if they're open extra hours, it's staffed by 2 people. You know, it's a minimal staffing, maybe a part-time cleaning guy. So it's not bringing employment to the town. It's bringing storage space. And to give them a 30-year tax agreement is much more. Frankly, I don't know why they need a tax break at all. They could just pay property taxes. It's a commercial activity, it's a for-profit activity, and it's not delivering, you know, it's delivering, I guess it's delivering a development, you know, that we like to see and will help in town to, you know, as part of that overall development project. But that we have to give them such a 30-year tax break seems, you know, maybe it could be a 15-year consideration. So I know it's on for introduction tonight, and would ask, you know, to take a second look, and because the consideration of bringing employment in the town, that just doesn't make any sense. 10 full-time employees in a, you know, for a storage center.
Thank you for your comments. Would anybody else like to make a comment on the agenda, an item on the agenda? Seeing none, will the clerk, there is. Oh, please, come up. You're hiding all the way in the back. I didn't see you. You have to be more vocal. Come on up. Here we go.
Okay, I forgot what I was supposed to say. I'm Rosa Manazian. I live in town, 15 Overbrook Place. I've been here before. I have 3 children, all with disabilities. So what I'd like to speak about is the Jake's Law agenda for today, the application. And my 3 children, one that's back there, Hope, she was actually in here recently. A police officer won an award for saving her life. Yes. I've watched more than 3 times 2 of my children almost lose their life in front of me. So it's very hard to have disabled children and go through what us parents with children with disabilities go through. And a problem that I have right now is that the playgrounds in town are not safe for my children. I've had one of my children with ADHD run into a tree at Beechwood. I could not keep track of where she was. I have one kid on the swing. I'm holding another one. Another one of my children, my oldest child with epilepsy, fell at Meadowbrook, and because it's just mulched, in the month of May, there's barely any mulch, and she broke her wrist. Hope has no swing, nothing to play on. I'm off-roading with her stroller. I cannot seem to get her a disability stroller, so I'm using a hand-me-down stroller for her. Like, nothing is good enough for them. And not just my children. There are other parents that have said that their children have gotten hurt on our fields or playgrounds, and I just want better for our town. I understand that Jake's Law, this specific application, this Green Acres funding, is really not what the council or the town wants, and I understand the points why, but I would just like my voice heard and know that our children need more. You know, I want them to, I know parents that grew up here and now live here because they love this small town, and I want my children to maybe later on in life say, Hillsdale gave me a great childhood and I might want to settle here as well. So this is just something that I want for our town and for our children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anybody else? Father?
Mayor, you know why I came?
I think I do.
Came to strongly oppose.
Come to the microphone.
Come on up.
Come to the. I came on behalf of the entire community of St. John the Baptist, which is about 2,000 families, to strongly oppose the construction of the storage facility about 30 feet from the entrance to St. John the Baptist in light of everything that has been happening in that corner of our borough, which for some is kind of a bad side of the back side of the property that nobody can see. For us, it's the entrance. I just don't know whether this is the time to speak or I'm supposed to speak later at the...
This is fine.
Now.
Okay. And I know that I have 3 minutes, but first of all, a full disclosure, as a pastor of a parish of 2,000 families, and many of you know me, what I have done in this borough, I'm profoundly touched and hurt by the fact that I'm learning some of these facts now, so late in the game when some of the approvals are being done. I'm particularly concerned because, as many borough representatives know, we got almost flooded. And the stream of water on Prospect was so strong on December 3rd that it carried the entire pallet of the material from the construction site. And it carried pipes and other material that seriously endanger people on our property. I live about 30 feet plus another 60 feet to the house from the intended construction site of the storage facility. And I found it to be quite problematic, and I used in my meeting with the mayor and the board administrator quite offensive. Because if for some it's just a piece of property in Hillsdale, if somebody would build a storage facility right here, and this is where you have 7-Eleven and that parking lot, people would say this is offensive, because for us it means something. This is a couple of feet from the place where people enter every day to arrange for funerals, to go in distress. I can tell you stories and stories about people that walk into that office, which for some doesn't mean anything. For us, it's very, very problematic. I'm very concerned about the design. I'm very concerned about the procedure, about the fact that 4 stories high storage is being slapped so close to the church without any discussion with our community. And I also have to inform you that St. John's community is in the middle of very major, serious insurance claim to the Archdiocese of Newark. The flooring of the entire building of the church started to buckle. And we are very concerned about the hydrostatic pressure in that area and all the recent almost flooding of our community. So this is what we are. I just want to state that we'll use every mean, legal and public relations, to protect the property of St. John the Baptist, and we'll need to be as vocal and as direct in this situation. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Does anybody else have anything they would like to speak about? Please come on up to the microphone. Your name and...
My name is Majid Muhammad. I came here to thank the council for Ramadan Crescent placing the lighting ceremony. I have my daughter here and my wife and community members who I extremely thankful for coming up here. I want to take a moment to thank you guys. This event allowing us to place a Ramadan crescent light in our town. Your support means a great deal to us, and we are excited to see this symbol of unity shine in our community. For Muslims around the world, Ramadan is a sacred month of fasting, reflection, and giving. It's time to strengthen our connection with God, care for those in need, and foster unity and love within our communities. We would love to invite all of you to join us on February 22nd for the official lighting ceremony. It would be an honor to have you with us as we celebrate this special occasion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My wife and my daughter would also like to speak.
Please. Your daughter seems a bit reluctant.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Ann Ragusa, Hillsdale resident. Thank you so much. This is my daughter, Farah. So I want to thank all of you on behalf of our family and the community for your forward thinking and improving this initiative. Today we stand here not only to celebrate the approval of the crescent lighting in our town, but also to acknowledge the importance of inclusivity, understanding, and the beautiful tapestry of faiths that enrich our community. It is truly beautiful when everyone's culture and holiday are recognized, especially for children. As our community is a melting pot of different cultures and religions, this gesture goes beyond just the light. It's a message of unity, a sign that we value diversity within our community and are committed to creating a space where everyone feels respected. So thank you all again.
Pleasure. Mary, want to say something?
Put the mic
away.
There you go.
Hello, my name is Farah Muhammad. I want to thank the Mayor Shane Feld and the council members for approving the crescent lighting. This makes me feel so happy that our town will help me and others celebrate Ramadan. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know, do you? Oh, sorry.
You have another speaker? Please. You saved me from having to come down. You can tilt the speaker back.
Thank you so much. Hi, Zahira Khan from 63 Woodland Road from Montville. My mayor, you probably know from Montville, Mayor Ghazali, has done actually our crescent lighting over 3 years ago. So he has always been very gracious and supportive of our community, and we are very thankful that we have our neighboring community doing the same thing as well. So I really commend you all and the DPW as well to take part in this event, and thank you again.
Thank you. Do you know the time about, is it
I think it's still.
at 6, 7 at night in the evening?
Right. Would anybody else like to speak? I cut it off too soon last time. Let's see. No? Okay. Will the clerk please read the correspondence?
First one is an email from Majid Mohammed requesting the placement of a crescent during Ramadan in the park along with a small celebration and kickoff. The second is a letter received from the Hillsdale Fire Department requesting use of the west lot for their annual carnival from May 5th to May 10th.
Can I get a motion to receive and file?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
I think we can do this by a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so let's go on to the professional reports. Nick from Colliers. That could be your last name, right? Nick from Colliers.
I prefer the one that I was given.
Okay,
Thank you.
Nick Chelios.
Yes. So not too much active right now as it's the middle of the winter, but we do have a bunch of things planned for this next year and a little bit beyond that. So right now we're planning out the NJDOT 2025 project. We were awarded a grant in the vicinity of $150,000. It was $152,000. So we're going to be working with Mike on narrowing in the scope of that and getting that project designed. We are also currently planning out the 2025 Riverside Cooperative Paving Program. So that is something that the town gets great pricing on roads and is a great way to kind of take care of the odds and ends that don't fit into certain other projects like DOT projects. So we're going to be evaluating roads for that this month. For the Melville Road project, the construction was delayed there. We didn't have great weather. There was also a water leak on the road, so we ended up having to push that construction period into the spring. The good thing is the contractor is going to be holding pricing, so you pretty much have 2024 prices being constructed in 2025. So as soon as weather permits, we're going to be getting that project underway. Right when it starts getting warmer outside, and they can lay concrete and asphalt. For Centennial Field, similar issues. We had a very rainy November, which made it difficult to get construction equipment on the field. There was a lot of mud. They did make pretty good progress. Most of the drainage system has already been installed, but they were not able to finish the final grading and lay down sod, so that is going to have to take place once weather gets warmer. It's difficult to say exactly when, but it should be early spring. I think we're still looking at having that field open in the spring, but it will be late spring rather than beginning of spring. So that is pretty much, and Memorial Field, we're currently working on the revisions to the concept plan for that. So that's in progress. It should be completed pretty soon. And, we're going to be having additional meetings to go over that and continue to
Internal
receive.
meetings or meetings with the field committee? What's the?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, both. Yeah. So, we'll continue to refine that design as needed, based on the feedback that we receive.
Nick, do you think that we'll have that revision done by the end of January?
I believe so, yeah.
So the plan is to get that plan in January and then to present it to the council on February 11 at that meeting. Before that, we will also be meeting with the Rec Commission, show them what we got, but there'll be a presentation on the agenda on February 11 for Memorial Field. Nick, can you just talk very quickly on the roads to be paved this year? You did.
So Melville, which is the one that was slated to be done late this year, that's going to be done in 2024. We haven't finalized the road list for.
We have a list.
No, for the Riverside Co-op. We're still working on identifying roads for that, but we'll have that probably within a week or two, I think. And then the NJDOT project, the roads that we applied for were Liberty Ave, Arcadia Way, and Wirmus Lane. And then we just have to have a discussion on whether we are going to stick with that as a scope, because that may exceed the grant funding amount. So it would require some capital funding in addition to the grant, probably to continue with that scope. But that's the plan for 2025 is those.
Okay. Anybody else? Questions for the engineer? Seeing none, we have police department report.
All right, thank you. Travis Woods, I'm a lieutenant with Hillsdale Police. I'll make this pretty brief. So I'm going to just encapsulate 2024 into 5 quick bullet points. So in 2024, the police department participated in over 20 successful community policing events. Those include not only, there's more to this, but our major ones: tours of headquarters, book readings, Junior Police Academy, multiple touch-a-truck events. We did Toys for Tots, Chief for a Day, school drop-off event we continued with, snow tubing event, which is held in Campcaw, which is actually again this Thursday. We did Coffee with a Cop. Sergeant Sayers, who's the head of the community policing unit, made 2 separate trips to Asheville, North Carolina. One of those trips was to donate winter jackets that he personally, or the community policing unit, collected. Second one was to drop off Christmas gifts to Asheville, to the victims of the hurricane. Traffic update. In 2024, we conducted 1,172 motor vehicle stops, took 60 selective enforcement details, responded to 67 traffic motor vehicle complaints, and addressed 280 parking complaints. Traffic also participated in numerous funerals and parades. Investigations. Detective Bureau conducted 165 investigations. They closed 159 of them. Many indictable and non-indictable charges came out of the Detective Bureau. Firearms Investigation Unit they conducted approximately 170 investigations. That's for firearms permits and et cetera. And our Humane Law Enforcement Officer had 7 animal cruelty investigations opened in 2024 and all closed.
Does anybody have any questions for the lieutenant? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Our DPW, Interim Superintendent Barry Peterson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll make this real quick also. So for December, our leaf collection program ended December 20th, and we collected a total of 5,979.75 cubic yards of leaves. We decorated, during that collection, the Veterans Park and the train station for the holiday season. Our December 21st and 24th snowfall, both storms combined, about roughly 3.5 to 4 inches with a combined total of 150 tons of salt used on all borough and county-owned roads. 100 tons of that was reclaimed through the county by doing the county roads. We've installed the remainder of the pallet shelving, the main DPW garage to get more equipment up off the floor. We had a heating issue at the train station caused by a dead battery in the thermostat. We had some frozen pipes, they were fixed, and along with the pipe repairs, I had the guys install some pieces of rubber across the bottom of the door to kind of cut back on any cold drafts coming in. And that's all I have.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for our DPW?
Barry, quick question about the train station. What things can and can't we do there?
The only thing I can do without permission from transit is paint the building the same colors. Any other kind of construction work, I have to get approval from New Jersey Transit, the historical portion of New Jersey Transit. They're going through old pictures and files and whatnot because they want to restore that building to original historic looking, which would be different color paint, some ornate things across the top of the roof and whatnot. And that's going to take some time.
So during the winter, the waiting area inside, I understand that the door was locked.
Yeah, so we are going to be changing the door this year, and we actually have the door already, and changing the floor.
Okay.
So that'll be on our dime with their approvals.
But is the door open now every
Yes.
morning?
Yes, the door is open every morning. I had unlocked it, I think maybe in between myself unlocking it and the cleaning company coming in, they may have locked the door behind them because the prior week the heat was not working and we had the building locked up. So the following morning, that was all set and ready for everybody to go in.
Great. Any other questions? Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. We'll move on to committee reports. Let's start from left and go right. Councilman Rucco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got 4 reports to make, so just bear with me. Seniors, as the senior liaison, the senior lunch at St. John the Baptist was held at December 18th. There was a Christmas lunch for the 50-plus club on December 20th. The 50-plus club met on January 9th. I want to thank Patty Hughes for providing musical arrangement there. I think it was enjoyed by the folks who attended. The next senior event is a senior lunch on January 15th at St. John the Baptist. The Board of Health, they'll be meeting on January 21st. There has been communications between the members of the Board of Health and the Borough Administrator regarding questions about the proposed shared service agreement with the county. That's still an ongoing discussion. The Financial Committee, we met on January 14th with the CFO and the Borough Administrator. We reviewed the financial reports for the borough as well as for the pool utility for December. The borough, nothing unusual in those reports for the month of December. Stony Brook ended the year with an estimated profit of $188,000, which is good, but it is down from the 13% from the prior year. We had very preliminary estimates of the 2025 budget, very preliminary, and its funding implications were shown to the committee, but adjustments continued to be made by the Borough Administrator and by the CFO to conform to a number of things, our surplus policy, our need to provide for essential services, and to keep the tax increases to a minimum. It's a challenging work in progress, so I'll be reporting as we go through that process. The committee is going to meet again on January 28th to review another draft, and then meet with the heads of the largest departments to go over their operating budget and capital budget amendments. The budget, just for all of the members of the days, has to be introduced no later than the Mayor and Council meeting of April 1st. It must be adopted no later than the Mayor and Council meeting of May 6th. Access for all. This gets a little lengthy, but I'll try to make it short. They met twice. They met on December 16th and January 14th. The schedule, they put forward their scheduled meeting dates. They elected officers, Ron Miller as the president, Yana Murmal as the vice president, Mustafa Earl as treasurer, and Anjali Daftari as secretary. They welcome new members, Mustafa Earl and Grace Sala. They're still looking for help from the borough administrator to suggest members who can represent the schools, the police, recreation, and the Board of Health. That's usually a normal part of having an Access for All committee. Plans are moving ahead for a 2025 art show at the library with an opening date of May 1st at 6:30 p.m. I encourage the attendance of all the members of the council to show support. Also, plans have been made for a series of arts and craft workshops, also in the library, to take place on February 22nd, March 15th, and April 26th. I updated them during their meeting on the matter of the council approving submission of the Jake's Law Grant to fund the creation of a new handicapped accessible playground in Beechwood Park that would place the existing non-handicapped accessible, that would replace the existing playground that's there now. It's non-handicapped accessible. We have a resolution tonight, R-25042, on the agenda, but I intend to make a motion when it comes up for discussion to postpone consideration of that resolution for the next council meeting, and I'll explain why. We have a letter from the Access for All president, Ron Miller, dated January 8th, in support of that project. There's been a petition of about 350 signatures in support of it, and several emails to the mayor and council that we've all received. However, I informed them that it was recently brought to the attention of the council liaison, Council President Asso, and he brought it to the attention of the rec committee that a Jake's Law Grant in the state of New Jersey had to be approved under the auspices of the state's Green Acre program. That would mean that the borough would have to agree to restrictions on the use and sale of all recreational open spaces in the town, including our being required to let any New Jersey town, any New Jersey sports association or organization or individuals who use that open space if it was available, assuming that it was funded by a Green Acres grant. It also has been clarified by the state that those conditions would apply to any of our recreational open space facilities. So if you accept Green Acres money, it comes with a bunch of negatives. Some towns have agreed to this quid pro quo, others have not. If the council is not concerned with these restrictions, then it probably should not vote for postponement tonight, as I move to postpone it. It should move to approve it. But if you have some concerns, postponing it will give us time to finalize our understanding of what the Green Acres restrictions really are. I've assured the Access for All members that the Recreation Committee and at least several council members here favor creation of a new handicapped accessible playground and will be open for ways to fund it, perhaps even without a grant. I will intend to ask the CFO and the BA at a Finance Committee meeting to explore whether it can be budgeted for in 2025, if not in 2026, if the council is agreeable to that suggestion. In the meantime, the Recreation Director has agreed to explore what other grants are available and, if necessary, work with the BA and the Rec Committee to determine a more cost-effective design. I think it's very important at a time when we're considering spending millions of dollars for the renovation of Memorial Field, and we've already spent close to $1 million on Centennial. It's important that we demonstrate support for the children and families who may not be able to reap the full benefits of our Centennial Field and Memorial Field renovations. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Trujillo.
Yes, hello. The Library Board of Trustees meeting was on Monday night. They elected a new set of board of directors. The president is Amanda Miller, vice president Cal Schepter, treasurer is Bill Bird, and secretary is Barbara Wytham. As a general report for 2024, I think what really stands out is that the library is now back to the circulation that it was at prior to COVID. It's taken all this time to get back up to that level. And so in 2024, the circulation, out of this 3,684 residential addresses associated with Hillsdale, of that, 1,604 actually hold a library card and have actually used it during the course of 2024, which represents 44% of the households, which is up from the year before, which was only 42%. So the point of that being that the library is strong, going strong, continuing to be a sort of a center for the community. They do have a lot of programs there, and I always urge, every time I give a report, is I always tell people they should go to the website, and you will see all sorts of programs for children, for adults. Last night, for example, there was a program on Iceland. Somebody was giving a whole presentation about traveling to Iceland. So, I mean, there are all sorts of, there's music, concerts, etc. And you can see that by going, to their website. And, you should, I always encourage everyone to drop in. The library is beautiful inside, and they're constantly making renovations and changes. And it's almost going to be on its way to sort of be almost like it's a very gathering place for the community. Especially for children, families with children love to go there. Moms, little children who aren't in school yet. Seniors love to go there. So I'm just trying to put it back out there in the public that please go check it out. If you haven't been there, I think you will be surprised at what's going on in there. And that's it for my library board.
Any other, just the library board, or?
Oh, there was a planning board meeting also, and they elected also a new panel, but unfortunately, I don't
same.
have all their names. Well, I think they may have switched up a little.
No, we stayed the same.
They stayed exactly the same?
Meredith Cates is still
Oh,
the chair.
Meredith Cates is still the
Steve
chair.
Reardon is the vice chair.
Okay, well, there
and
you
Scott
go.
Raymond is the secretary.
Because our mayor is a representative on the planning board.
I was there with you.
So, yes, he was there with me. I think then that would be it for that meeting, correct?
That's it.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Mazza-Chong.
Okay, so I have a couple of updates to report. I'll start with ambulance. My first ambulance committee meeting is scheduled for next week. I'm looking forward to attending this meeting, as it'll provide an opportunity for me to engage with the committee and gain an understanding of their current operations. But in preparation for this meeting, I do want to thank Richard Savino, sitting in the front there, for, I took the initiative to visit the ambulance house last week, and during my visit, I did receive a comprehensive tour of the facilities, which was very insightful. It was a great overview of their daily functions, responsibilities, got a sneak peek into the vehicle and all the wonderful equipment that's in there. I do want to thank you again, because the experience did give me a valuable firsthand knowledge of the work that is needed and all the work that they perform and the critical role that this ambulance does play in our community. So I do look forward to building on this foundation, collaborating with the ambulance committee to support and enhance their efforts. And I'll provide, hopefully I'll have an update for you guys next meeting. I'll move on to the Board of Ed local. So a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Saxon and the Board of Ed, they shared a detailed update on the progress of our middle school construction project. Building on that update, I'm happy to share that the construction documents are moving forward and remain on schedule. The architects, engineers, and construction managers are working hard to finalize the project's phases and as we prepare for code and bid submissions. They are also closely monitoring construction costs in real time as these costs continue to fluctuate, as they have noted throughout the process. Also, huge shout out to the staff that they recognized last night. There was a recognition of 5 staff members earning 25 years of service. It was Andrea Lincoln, Tracy Alderton, Joy Goodman, Marissa Lamont, and Eileen Thomas. So the board, as well as the mayor and council, are very thankful for their service, their commitment, and impact on the student experience during their tenure.
That's it. Okay. Council President Oso.
Yes, the police committee had an opportunity to meet yesterday. The new members of the committee, Melissa Mazachang and Jeanette Trahimuk, were introduced to both Lieutenant Camparelli and Lieutenant Woods, who is also the officer in charge. They were kind enough to provide us an overview of the department. Just an update on the PBA Local 207 contract that was negotiated last year. It will be presented to the mayor and council in February for approval. And that'll be presented by B.A. Gasali. With regards to the Rec Commission, Edward Grill was elected chair, John Coring was elected vice chair, and quick congratulations to Ann Crone, who was reappointed to her seat there. Basketball recreation has started. There were 330 registrants that have signed up. It's in line with where they were last year in terms of registrations. The spring brochure for rec is going to be released on February 15th. Please check out the Hillsdale Recreation website for dates of events. Events that you can find out there are the summer concert series, the Halloween parade, and other various events that were very successful through the year. John provided us a pretty significant update on Green Acres. I had written some stuff to say about that, but I don't want to rehash everything. I think his summary was pretty thorough. Also, when we get to the resolution, we'll have additional time to discuss it as well. Also wanted to thank Rick Savino for providing the sports associations at the Rec Commission meeting last night an opportunity for safety and first aid training that the commission will strongly consider, and hopefully we'll have a number of people that will register for the program.
Great. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. Councilman Fox.
The intern superintendent of DPW took care of my report. And Councilman Rucco updated on the pool revenue, so I have nothing else to report.
Okay. Councilman Coletti.
Thank you. In regards to the PV High School Board of Education, there are no updates from last week, at which time they reconstituted. In terms of the Environmental Commission, the commission did hold, in conjunction with the Boy Scout Troop 108 and the DPW, their styrofoam recycling drop-off event this past Saturday in the West Lot. That was an enormous success. About 78 cars dropped off styrofoam, filling what I believe was either a 30 or 40-yard dumpster plus the back of one of the DPW dump trucks. The majority of the residents were from Hillsdale. There were some from Woodcliff Lakes and Montvale, and there were numerous requests to determine if we could hold such an event more regularly. What's going to happen with this is all the product is going to poly molding, and that styrofoam will be recycled into park benches. So very successful event. In terms of the fire department, we will be reconstituting hopefully sometime between Thursday of this week and the end of next week, and I can provide updates then.
Great. B.A. Gasali.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a very short one. We have a new business in town, Shota Japanese Kitchen, coming to 321 Broadway. We don't have a date opening yet. And I just want to clarify just one point. Councilman Rucco, for the second time, says that Centennial cost us $1 million. We actually pulled the numbers from 2019. I just want to go on the record just to clarify so we're all on the same page, and I will make this available to the council and to the mayor. Since 2019, we paid DMR $49,000. Statiel, we paid him $165,000. Collier, we paid $117,000. And then we have the environmental group about $50,000. That comes up to $363,000 up to that point where we started the new plan. The new plan costing us $374,000, and engineering about $50,000, environmental about $50,000. All in all, including the previous work from 2019 to date, when we are handed the key to the field, it will cost us $842,000. So it's close to the million, but it includes the new plan.
Was any of the work that was done from previous able to be pulled forward into the work that's being
Yes.
done now?
So Collier Engineering and from Steel, we used some of the services that they gave in 2021 and 2022, use that data for their new plan. If we didn't have that, we would have to pay more to get that.
Okay.
Also, while we have Nick here, Nick, you're familiar with that field, right?
Yes.
I mean, that work that was done in the past, inclusive of that $400,000 investment that was made, did that add any value with regards to drainage and being able to make those fields playable? That wasn't throwaway work, right?
The work that was done previously by Krista Teal,
Yes.
are you referring to?
Yes.
Quite honestly, a lot of that drainage system didn't really function properly. It's not that it's throwaway. It still is going to remain in place, but it wasn't really working. So what we're doing now is additive to that, or a supplement. So yeah, to answer your question, the answer is yes.
So it
That
provided
still is
some
being
benefit.
used. Yes, that's
Yeah, okay.
correct.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay.
I just want to question
Yes.
the engineer. When we spoke, to be clear, the work that Krista Teal did, which resulted in a visual look that the parents didn't like, and the Steel Engineering put new drainage in. Pretty much, my understanding after talking to you was that it had to be redone. It was like we put money in, but it's to no what.
So yeah, it was a bit of a Band-Aid fix.
Right.
But it does provide some benefit. It does store some stormwater, so it does reduce the amount of stormwater that is flowing off-site and/or ponding on the site.
But you wouldn't change anything you're doing because he did that work.
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
our system is designed to work as if that is not there.
Right.
But it does. His drainage design does supplement our system, so it does add a benefit.
Right, right. There's also that, is it not true that there are some costs by virtue of us having decided to redo Centennial Field, that we've introduced more intensified DEP testing that has to be done on a quarterly basis, as well as about a $55,000 expense for the LSRP.
So the specifics of that, I think you would need to ask your LSRP that question. I would say in relation to the construction activity, our testing, 50,000 is related to construction. If we were to do any case, probably not the same, but anything you're doing at that field, because it's a landfill, is going to require monitoring to make sure that it doesn't have impact to the landfill below, or there's methane deposits that are being released or anything like that.
Right. But our work now, our decision to move ahead with Centennial Field and redo things that we'd already done and improve upon that is costing us more monitoring expenses than we had previously, than what was going on before.
Correct. There's a monitoring expense that is just an ongoing kind of like maintenance expense.
I
And
understand.
then as active construction occurs, there's additional requirements.
Yeah.
That's correct.
If you know me, you know that I'm a big proponent of being honest and open. I think you are with the costs that we're experiencing. When we get benefits, there are also costs, and I just want those costs to be made known to the public.
And John, those costs for the DEP monitoring, they'll come down over years, right?
We hope so.
Okay. Right.
They go away naturally, don't they?
Well, do they go away?
They'll forever
No.
be there?
Well, when we first capped that in 2000, Mike knows the dates a little better than I do, but they made us test, and they just continued to make us test for years. But you have to push the DEP in order to get freedom.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to the ordinances. Everybody who gets to now hear will speak quite a bit here. Okay, 2501, at the beginning of the year, we start with 1. An ordinance to amend and supplement Ordinance 0901, Chapter 138, Fees, and Chapter 71, Swimming Pool Commission. Be it resolved that Ordinance 2501 does now pass first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting of the Mayor and Council in the Municipal Building, 380 Hillsdale Avenue, Hillsdale, New Jersey, on February 4th, 2025, and at said time and place, all persons interested will be given an opportunity to be heard in concerning the same, and the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in the Ridgewood News once, at least 1 week prior to said hearing, with a notice of its introduction and of the time and place, when and where said ordinance would be considered for final passage. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Can the clerk please read the roll?
Councilmember Chohimuk?
Yes.
Councilmember Coletti?
Yes.
Councilmember Fox?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazza-Chong?
Yes.
Council President Oso?
Yes.
Councilmember Rucco?
Yes.
That is introduced. Okay, 2502, an ordinance establishing salary ranges for the staff of the Hillsdale Swimming Pool Commission in the Borough of Hillsdale, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey. Be it resolved that ordinance 2502 does now pass first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting of the Mayor and Council in the Municipal Building, 380 Hillsdale Avenue, Hillsdale, New Jersey, on February 4th, 2025, and at said time and place, all persons interested will be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same, and the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in the Ridgewood News once, at least 1 week prior to said hearing, with a notice of its introduction and of the time and place when and where said ordinance would be considered for final passage. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Will the clerk please read the roll?
Councilmember Coletti?
Yes.
Councilmember Fox?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazza-Chong?
Yes.
Council President Oso?
Yes.
Councilmember Rucco?
Yes.
Councilmember Chohimuk?
Yes.
That is considered introduced. 2503, an ordinance establishing recreation department program and summer camp fees in the Borough of Hillsdale. Be it resolved that ordinance 2503 does now pass the first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting of the Mayor and Council in the Municipal Building, 380 Hillsdale Avenue, Hillsdale, New Jersey, on February 4th, 2025, and at said time and place, all persons interested will be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same. And the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in the Ridgewood News once, at least 1 week prior to said hearing, with a notice of its introduction and of the time and place when and where said ordinance would be considered for final passage. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Is there a second? There it is. Second. Okay. Will the clerk please read the roll?
Councilmember Fox?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazza-Chong?
Yes.
Council President Oso?
Yes.
Councilmember Rucco?
Yes.
Councilmember Chohimuk?
Yes.
Councilmember Coletti?
Yes.
We're going to move on to 2504, introduction, ordinance establishing salaries for the Recreation Department. Be it resolved that ordinance 2504 does now pass the first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting of the Mayor and Council in the Municipal Building, 380 Hillsdale Avenue, Hillsdale, New Jersey, on February 4th, 2025, and at said time and place, all persons interested will be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same, and the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in the Ridgewood News once, at least 1 week prior to said hearing, with a notice of its introduction and of the time and place when and where said ordinance would be considered for final passage. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Will the clerk please read the roll?
Councilmember Mazza-Chong?
Yes.
Council President Oso?
Yes.
Councilmember Rucco?
Yes.
Councilmember Chohimuk?
Yes.
Councilmember Coletti?
New Jersey. Redevelopment Plan. Be it resolved that ordinance 2505 does now pass a first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting of the Mayor and Council in the Municipal Building, 380 Hillsdale Avenue, Hillsdale, New Jersey, on February 4th, 2025, and at said time and place, all persons interested would be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same, and the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in the Ridgewood News once, at least 1 week prior to said hearing, with a notice of its introduction and of the time and place when and where said ordinance would be considered for final passage. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Clerk, please read the roll.
Discussion, please.
Usually do we discuss introduction typically?
On every motion, there's allowed for discussion.
Okay, so the discussion is on the motion in some way or on the merits of the ordinance?
The merits of the ordinance.
I don't, is that germane at this time?
It's been motioned, it's seconded. The normal process is, according to Robert's Rules of Order, to have, you can permit any member to discuss.
asking the attorney.
I'm thinking it through as we go. This is not something you would hold until the actual adoption of the ordinance?
I think that would be my choice.
Okay, let's just discuss the
Well,
merits
let's
of
see, is there a
ordinances on
second?
introduction.
It's already been
Oh,
motioned and
all right.
seconded.
Go ahead.
The only matter I'd like to discuss, or at least bring out to my fellow council members, is that we've had St. John the Baptist pastor indicate that he's concerned about it because of the potential for increased flooding that occurs at St. John's. I think it's important, if someone is going to object to that, that objection be sustained by a engineer's report or some evidence, because what this mayor and council have seen from the work that's been done up to this point is that with the addition of retention tanks, both in the residential part of the prior approved development as well as now the new self-storage development, there might be an increased capacity to hold water that falls down in that area. But I would be sensitive to any scientific study that is presented before the council that argues to the contrary. And that's all I want to say.
Okay, well, we've heard that. No, there's a motion before it for a vote. It's been postponed. Will the clerk please read the roll? Oh, is there another one?
Mark, can I ask you a quick
Yeah.
question? This is just an introduction.
It's just introduction.
Okay, right.
That's all it is.
Right.
I have one quick question
Yeah.
for the BA. Are we changing the date?
To the 11th?
You mentioned that something.
Yeah, and that's to, actually to accommodate St. John the Baptist to have more time. If we can change it to
So we
February
can
11.
change that from February 4th to February 11th? As read? Okay.
Thank you.
So the motion would be, can we get a motion for it for the 11th? Right? Okay, so that's it. Any other discussion? No? So this is for the 11th. Will the clerk please?
Councilmember Roop? Councilmember Coletti?
Yes.
Hillsdale, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, approving an application for a long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with Piermont Avenue Urban Renewal related to the redevelopment of Block 1208, Lot 1 on the tax maps of the borough. Be it resolved that Ordinance 2506 does now pass a first reading, and that said ordinance be further considered for final passage at a meeting of the mayor and council in the municipal building, 380 Hillsdale Avenue, Hillsdale, New Jersey, on February 4th. And at said time and place, all persons interested will be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same, and that the clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in the Ridgewood News once, at least 1 week prior to said hearing, with a notice of its introduction and of the time and place when and where said ordinance would be considered for final passage. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
With respect to the earlier ordinance, in this case, Coletti and myself were disappointed that the first attempt to introduce this, the then added to it as well. The revenue years. So it's development. Scientific evidence.
Comment?
Two. If we not on the
Anybody?
making
That's fine. The 11th. Anybody else? Okay, so with a second consideration of it for February 11th.
yes.
Will the clerk please read the roll?
Councilmember Rucco?
Yes.
Councilmember Chohimuk?
Yes.
Councilmember Coletti?
Yes.
Councilmember Fox?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazza
Yes.
Council President Rosso?
Yes.
So we're going to move on to the 2503 to 2505. Let's get a motion, and then we'll ask to pull it. Can I get a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Don't we pull it first?
We're going to pull, no, then we're going to pull it.
I think we pulled
We should pull
But
first.
we're going to pull, we're going to pull 25042.
I would also like,
So is there a
Mayor?
motion, I'm sorry, is there a motion on the consent agenda
With the,
sans 25042?
I think Bob wants to pull it.
Yeah, I'd like to pull 25040,
25040 to be considered separately.
please.
Okay, is there any other resolution to be pulled?
Yes, 25054.
You got three? It would be easier just with the and 250. Second.
Councilmember Chohimuk? Councilmember Coletti?
Yes.
Councilmember Fox? Councilmember Mazza?
Yes.
That passes with the exception of 40. Motion, then we'll
Act as resolution is amendment in the our in and they could
to struck that entire.
no into the governor.
Okay.
So ended.
Okay.
To over or semicolon and deletes the
Motion.
Councilmember
The ended 25.
Procedure council to restriction in our without the benefit be available. I would say.
The discussion on this?
Can you just provide confirmation that it works?
Parks to the general public. the grant or contribution from 3 ways.
Identify.
Or two. Will
I'll second.
Because the,
I went over to the.
yeah, is in between the formula.
a major.
Council wants to proceed.
Is there a time? February 5th?
Right.
Yeah. So it's got to stay. Okay, is there a second? Second, okay. Well,
President Oso?
has been tabled. 5-0. Can I? Let's have some discussion.
County prosecutors reported in all it's the first duty why we have public safety officers. They need to do so with the proper perspective. The investigation, which I cannot describe because it's in litigation, lead to a situation of our police, of law enforcement. Still has been without an act. If after the appeal, chief is not permitted by this council.
Wait a second here. Are we getting far afield here? I want to make sure that we're not violating anybody's right. I want to
Stop
check
me
with counsel.
immediately.
That's why I'm asking counsel.
Yeah, I can't say anything that's been said is violating anybody's rights. The
Outcomes and potential outcomes.
correct. So
I'd like to stay away from that.
the resolution is on for the purpose of appointing a person to do a job. If the councilman seeks to provide some perspective on that, I don't know that it's necessary, but it's certainly his prerogative.
Yeah, I am at my last bullet point.
Okay, excellent.
If he chooses not properly commence search of candidates. Of course, I'm
sorry,
done.
I want to protect everybody's rights here. I appreciate the comment. Corners of this resolution to resolve this matter. For everybody's protection, we need to confine it. Thank you. Okay. Motion.
Mazzatone?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Non-consent. Second.
Councilmember
25-0. On any someone. He has actually.
Hello, I live at. Been here since. I really. Down. Also went to Pascack. No divide. Lockdown, the whole country has been mental health. Is a place of worship, emotional, spiritual, mental health support part of the network. You're going to start of the movement and social community. If you feel monstrosity, nothing but store church. Study this, and you could look into what on the community's mental health.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else like to speak?
That I didn't clarify. The fact that we and the objections, I absolutely not only mental and on the construction of a storage facility. Make it a part of the parish as to Mr. Ardern, Finance Council, various issue that I needed to seniors for with a lot of issues. I realized we for any events related to our insurance for church events. What happened to anyone of these people called and very, very community. So, so the sooner we get this done, then we'll be able to welcome till the community center is complete.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any other comment? Well, one, then two. Two.
Avenue. I think you've heard me speak a few times. I just want to say a couple of things. Hard work that's going into the improvements in the parks, hear the plans that are happening. I was hoping to stick around a little bit to kind of hear some of the thoughts that we've been mulling over at home and, you know, with some of the neighbors that we are friendly with. I don't want to speak for everybody. I don't know everybody who has been coming up here to talk. But first of all, I want to say that we really need this park to happen. Seeing the boys here today was really, I think, uplifting, hearing from the coaches. So these improvements are needed for the town, and I don't think that anybody's opposing those happening. Being so impacted, being so close to the fields, there are a few concerns that I would like to address. Traffic is a huge issue in the area when large-scale town events happen. Right now, those events are few and far between at that park, 10 or less a year. So they're a lot more tolerable. If that field is truly going to be the only place used for large-scale events, those incidents aren't anymore because they're going to be constant. I'd like to throw out a couple of suggestions because I don't feel like you can only come up with problems. One of the things that has been mentioned is that some of the other fields are not even really worth investing in. They're that poorly in shape. One of those being Beechwood. I would like to throw the idea out there of using Beechwood as spillover parking for Memorial. If it's not worth investing in improving it, why don't we take away all that parking issues, all of the problems with people leaving their cars, you know, in an unsafe areas by just turning Beechwood into a parking lot for Memorial. That will take away that second parking lot in the corner. We can use the space that we already have and then use that as spillover parking. It's close enough to walk. That will give the rec parents and spectators a safe place to leave their car and will take away a lot of those issues in the surrounding area. I think that that's something worth thinking of. I know lights are a huge issue. Hearing from the rec department, they're really necessary. But my thought is, I think the 9 o'clock proposed curfew is a lot more fair for the local residents. I would also like to suggest possibly only lighting it for field sports and not for baseball and softball, considering we have lighting for baseball and softball at Centennial. And from what I understand, and again, the engineers could probably clarify further, that lighting for field sports is less invasive than lighting for baseball and softball because they can be set at a lower angle, which might be a good compromise kind of for the residents and giving our rec kids what they need for the town. To throw out the idea of just putting a portable that can be used so that we can, I believe that's the need. The need for that events at our beautiful field is only when divided towns. Finding solutions.
Mr. Sabine, for Westdale Road.
I'd just like to 05 introduction. A couple months ago, this was originally introduced, and I commented about the council was careful. You outlined why you accepted and rejected the planning board recommendations, and that was listed and identified online. But I had asked about, in the amendments themselves, the height of the building was raised and the impervious surface was increased. Now, that's the heart of his objection. And back in November, I asked for a further explanation of why that was happening. And I note in the intervening 2 months, it's the same document, I think, that was posted to the agenda back in November. And, you know, I don't understand why the storage space needs an extra story and why they're increasing their impervious surface, which was already a very high percentage, much higher than any other, any new construction would be permitted in town, that under the redevelopment plan. And that was justified at the time of the redevelopment plan because it was more permeable than existed when it was large, when it was almost completely paved. So I would just ask, you know, between now and February 4th, please explain what's going on. We have increasing objections here to those exact points. And I just find it, you know, it's distressing that ask a question and no further explanation comes out. It's the exact same document being repeated. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to comment? Seeing none, we'll close that period and move on to council commentaries. I will begin just by saying my State of the Borough speech was sufficient last week, so I figure I've talked enough. And we will just go from there. This time we'll start at the far end on council commentaries. Councilman Coletti.
Yeah, simply put, just thank you for the community's involvement in the meetings. Appreciate your input, your statements. Everything is taken into consideration. Thank you.
Councilman Fox.
No comment.
Council President.
No comment.
Councilwoman Mazzachan.
Yes, I just want to big congratulations again to the Hawks Junior and Pee Wee Super Bowl champions, along with the outstanding cheerleading teams. We're very proud of them and their hard work. I also want to thank Mr. Muhammad for his letter and helping to initiate a new tradition for our town. So I'm really looking forward to the February 22nd crescent lighting. So thank you for initiating that. Also, I want to thank Rosa Bezzarelli for sharing her story and her concerns regarding parks and for being an advocate. I think, you know, we really appreciate hearing it, and we will work on possible solutions and funding. And lastly, we'll be honoring Martin Luther King next week, reflecting on his incredible legacy of equality, justice, and service. So let's just take this time to remember him and his dreams for a better and more united future.
Great. Councilwoman Trujillo.
I would also like to congratulate the Hawks and the cheerleaders. I'm also very pleased that we will be celebrating, participating in the Ramadan celebration. And I also would like to thank everyone that does attend these meetings. It's always very refreshing for us, and it's a very good interaction with the community. And of course, as you know, most of the time, there's no one here, so it is very good and
Our secret.
really very, I think, encouraging to all of us when we see people coming. It shows that you're, you know, reading, listening, kind of interested in what's going on council. And I think that people who have stake in the community should show up at these meetings, voice their opinions, their concerns all along. Sometimes people just really show up sort of at the end when maybe they've just heard a rumor or they've just found out something that's been going on maybe for a year or 2 or 3. And so it's, you know, we welcome still those opinions and ideas, but I strongly encourage people to, you know, attend these meetings. And if you can't, online, there's always the minutes from prior meetings that you could read to sort of bring you up to date or speed as to what is going on, you know, if you can't attend, right? And I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Rocco.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to congratulate Mary Williams on her retirement after many years of working in the borough in the building and construction department. She has a well-deserved reputation as always being pleasant, helpful, and knowledgeable to residents and fellow employees, and she's going to be sorely missed. The last point, in a recent story published in the Pascack Press, the executive director of Fair Share Housing Corporation said that Hillsdale was a, quote, historically exclusionary municipality, unquote, and criticized us for joining a lawsuit with scores of other New Jersey towns that would put a hold and force the legislature to modify the fourth round of affordable housing requirements. His comments would have the public believe that we and other towns included in the litigation are practicing a subtle form of discrimination against African Americans, Hispanics, and others. He apparently is ignorant of Hillsdale's longstanding approach of requiring inclusionary housing, affordable housing, in all new residential developments approved by our planning board. This has been going on for years and years. It's too bad that he, and he's not even a municipal official, doesn't recognize that the municipalities he has thrown under the bus are only trying to correct the unreasonable aspects of the state's affordable housing requirements. These municipalities are led by both Democrats and Republicans. The executive director himself has fallen victim to stigmatizing this legitimate effort to improve the program so that municipalities remain attractive and do not overbuild. Shame on Executive Director Adam Gordon. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Before I adjourn, I just want to make sure everybody knows the crescent lighting ceremony will be on the 22nd at 6 p.m. in Veterans Park. Okay?
Thank you, Mayor.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? We are adjourned. The next meeting will be February 4th at 7 p.m. in these chambers.
6 o'clock.
Thank you.